All right guys, today we are cooking some spare ribs Texas style. So these are gonna be cooked on the offset smoker, and I'm only gonna season them with salt and pepper. That's it. These are St. Louis cut. It's not the full spare. I couldn't find those today, but these are nice and super meaty. All I'm gonna do is kind of pat the back side, get some of that excess moisture off of it, and then anywhere you actually see like this stuff hanging, just get rid of that and get rid of that. So some people like to remove the membrane. I actually leave it on. I don't even mess with it. I really don't think it matters that a whole lot. And so these, you notice there's a reason why I bought this specific rack right here. It's very symmetrical. It's got really good striations of fat in the meat. So when we render this down, it's gonna make a super delicious and really tender, juicy rib. So, not a whole lot to do here. If you see something like this hanging off, just get rid of that, clean it up a little bit. This has a little bit of, you can see here, this is a little bit of that remaining chine bone, so we're just gonna take that off right here. And we're gonna even these out just a little bit. And you can use this excess. This is basically pork belly right here, so you can actually grind that up and use it for sausage, use it for whatever. So that's really what all this is here. If you want to, this is just a rib tip. We're gonna take this one off, square it up, nice and even. These are some thick ribs. Okay, so this is gonna be what we're working with today. I'm gonna square this up just a little bit more. You can use a binder. These are pretty sticky. Usually I just use yellow mustard, just a tiny bit, like that much, and then rub it in really good. Like, I mean, I barely squirted any on. And then the last thing we're gonna do, or the next thing we're gonna do, is we're gonna start with pepper, because I like to go pepper first and start out high and sprinkle, like make it rain really on it. And what that does is it evenly distributes it. Because if you're like right here like this, like look how confined you get. But if you stay up high, as long as it's not too windy, this is gonna work out really well for you. So nice coverage here. And the reason I put the pepper on first is that will tell me, then I can really keep track of how much salt I'm putting on the ribs. Whereas if I did salt first, it's just more of a visual indicator. So, and again, this is Diamond Crystal kosher salt. It's like the only salt I use for my barbecue, just because it's not very strong and I just love how it flakes. And we're just gonna pat that in a little bit, flip that over. We are gonna do the sides, because whoever gets a side rib, you wanna make sure that on every bite, you are evenly seasoned. Give yourself a good, decent work area, preferably outside, or an area where you can easily clean it up afterwards. So yeah, I'm getting some good coverage here. Another thing why I like this size pepper, this is pretty traditional. Pepper really attracts smoke. Smoke loves pepper. So that is what's gonna make, the pepper is what's gonna make the smoke stick to the rib. So now I'm just going back over again with this salt. And we're almost there. It's looking pretty good to me. Okay, now here's another trick. So when I smoke ribs, I like to use a baking rack to put them on. And then also, you'll notice that this is the really thick side of the rib here. So I'm actually gonna face that part closest to the fire. So I'm gonna put the ribs on this baking rack like so, because the fire's gonna be coming, the heat's gonna be coming from this angle. And then what I'm gonna do, what this helps me do, is I actually wanna squish these as close together as possible. I wanna squish those bones because, and almost like you're trying to make a little accordion looking shape right here. And the reason I do that is because however you put them on the smoker, this is how they're gonna cook, this is how they're gonna come out, right? And so you really want them you want them squished and you want them about as tight as you can get them, right? And so, and we're gonna put them on the smoker here in just a minute, but those are ready to go. Here's our post oak going. I mean, it's starting to rip. We're good to go, we can cook. We've got really good combustion. We've got nice clean smoke coming out of the stack. And it's time to put these spare ribs on. So, I got my smoker here. Remember how I said we want the thick part facing the fire? I've got a blocking log in here, and then that's it. We're going super simple today. Salt and pepper only, post oak. Super traditional Texas barbecue. So the ribs have been on about 2 hours now, and it's time to look at them and spritz them for the first time. And so here's my spritz setup. Just a 1 liter bottle of water, little Texas Shiner Bock. So all I'm gonna do is take my water bottle, and then I've got a little funnel here. Let's pour the beer in here. The bottle's big enough to where I can just do a fast pour on it. It'll settle in a second, and then this is my little secret weapon. This is actually a paint sprayer, and so I use it as a spritzer, but I also use it to spray glaze at the end. So this thing is pressurized. We just pump it up a little bit, and then I'll take it over to the smoker in a minute. Before we do that, we drink too while we barbecue. So let me go like this, go like this. One for me, one for my crew. Cheers to you. That is good. On a day like today, there's nothing better than barbecuing and beer. Let's check on these ribs. First time looking at them, they've been on about, almost 2 hours. Let's take a look. I added a water pan. Look at those babies, and then we're gonna hit them with that shiner. Look at that spritz right there. All right guys, these ribs have been on about 3 hours now. So guess what? It's time to pull them, and we're gonna wrap them. Got that perfect mahogany color on these. Remember, these have salt and pepper only on them. That's all. All right guys, it's time to wrap these ribs. Very simple. I've got just a tomato-based vinegary sauce right here that I'm gonna put down first, and then I've got some honey, and that's it. So right here, let's go give it a little squirt like that, and then we're gonna go with the honey, and of course, you know what, I may have to take this top off because I just don't think it's gonna cooperate with me. There we go. Now, I'm gonna take my ribs right here, my salt and pepper ribs. Beautiful. And I'm gonna go like so. I'm gonna give them just a nice little press, and then I'm gonna come back with my sauce. Not too heavy. I'm gonna come back with my honey. You could add more seasoning here if you wanted to. I'm not, because I want these to be just super simple. And then now, let's just give it a fold over. Come over the rib like so. Tuck your fingers. And then we're gonna wrap it up tight right here. I got the wind. Of course, the wind picks up when I'm trying to do this. So let's fold. Give it a good fold. And then basically, we're gonna pull the ribs towards us. We're gonna go once, keeping them nice and tight. See how I'm pulling close to me? I wanna be careful not to actually tear them. That's why I got this extra heavy duty foil so it doesn't tear. Then I'm gonna come one more time again, nice and straight, nice and tight. And then I'm gonna take this excess right here. I'm gonna fold it under. It's gonna give me an extra layer of protection at the bottom. And then if I do have excess, I can just fold it down again. And then now all I'm doing is making sure I've got a really tightly wrapped rack of ribs. They're gonna go on the smoker just like this, meat side down, and we're gonna continue to render them out, and they're gonna get nice and tender on us. All right, guys, it's been about 20 minutes. These ribs should be nice and tackened up. They should be ready to pull, and we are about ready to eat. So let's take a look at them. Looky here, look at that bend, look at that drip. That's what we want. Bend, but not break. All right, guys, it's been 6 hours. It's finally time to slice these ribs. Look how beautiful they look. So here's how I like to slice. First of all, if your ribs can hold up like that, you know they're not overcooked. If you can flop them around like that, you know they're not overcooked. I mean, they're gorgeous. All right, so we're gonna take these, we're gonna put them straight down on the board, upside down, right? So I can actually see them, see what I'm doing. Serrated slicer. I love a serrated slicer because, you know, I don't take my bark off when I'm slicing. So I'm gonna go right down the middle here. And then I'm gonna go right down the middle here. Let's see how we did. Look at the moisture coming out of that rib. Look at that smoke ring. It is perfectly rendered. It's gonna have just a slight bit of pull to it when you bite into it, but I'm very, very happy with how these turned out. Absolutely perfect traditional Texas ribs. Okay, this is the end cut. Let me try one. I mean, it looks pretty good. Let's see. Let's do the bite test on it. Oh my. Wow.